Am I throwing rockets? These are missiles, yeah? These are fucking missiles. Camp 100%, this is, yeah? We're going in here 100%. I'm going into this fight 100% Conor McGregor, not 92. 100% Conor McGregor. So it has to be really meticulous. We were right there with the last one. As a unit, we do it, right?
Conor McGregor was saying he wanted on the White House. Now, for Conor McGregor to be on the White House, Conor McGregor wants $100 million and he wants 100 golden visas. So Conor's essentially saying, you need me on the White House and you're going to pay to get me on the White House. To do something that 745 people would do for free. He's essentially asking.
The UFC is heading to the White House for the first time in history. And Conor McGregor is at the center of what could be the most controversial fight card ever assembled. We're talking about an unprecedented event on the most powerful grounds in the world, and the notorious one has already positioned himself as the main attraction. But here's what nobody's telling you about this historic card that's got everyone from former champions to managers throwing around wild accusations and making bold predictions. Dana White has been working with the White House for months, creating detailed visual maps of the entire property, planning everything from lighting to seating arrangements. This isn't just another UFC event. This is a legacy-defining moment that will never be repeated. And the fighter everyone wants to see step into that octagon. He's training with an intensity that's got people asking whether his most notorious demands have finally been met.
Fucking way better this camp. Camp 100%, this is, yeah? We're going in here 100%. I'm going into this fight 100% Conor McGregor, not 92. 100% Conor McGregor. So it has to be really meticulous. We were right there with the last one. As a unit, we do it. Let's go, let's go. Am I throwing rockets?
Here's where it gets absolutely wild. Online rumors are exploding about a potential McGregor versus Jorge Masvidal showdown, but Dana White just dismissed the entire thing like it's worthless gossip. The UFC president made it crystal clear he's completely unfamiliar with these MMA rumors and doesn't take social media speculation seriously at all. Even with fans going crazy pushing this matchup as the perfect fit for the White House card, Dana's response basically said that just because something trends online doesn't mean it's happening. But here's the kicker. While Dana's shooting down the Masvidal rumors, Michael Bisping is making a compelling case for why this fight makes perfect sense. Bisping pointed out that Masvidal has been highly visible at Trump rallies and is often seen in the Trump inner circle, which makes him a natural choice for a White House event. From Bisping's perspective, McGregor versus Masvidal wouldn't just be a fight. It would be an explosive, headline-dominating spectacle that captures global attention.
Hamza, this is Conor. Brother, Conor is too old, bro. He's finished. Salam alaikum.
But wait, it gets even more interesting. Masvidal himself couldn't help but fuel the speculation when asked directly about facing Conor McGregor. This is juicy because Dana had just downplayed the matchup, yet Masvidal responded with a knowing grin and subtly teased that something major is on the horizon. While he avoided confirming specific details, he strongly hinted that fans might get exactly what they've been hoping for very soon. He made it clear that big news is coming that has the potential to shake up the entire fight game. Then Masvidal went all in, brazenly brushing off any notion of McGregor's power and confidently calling himself a level above someone who can see everything coming before it lands. He framed the potential matchup as a pure striking showcase, insisting that McGregor's signature devastating shots wouldn't hold up against a sharper, more seasoned stand-up fighter like himself. Masvidal deliberately downplayed the uncertainty around McGregor's stalled plans, referring to the UFC's data-driven approach to choosing fights, and making it clear that the loudest and most dangerous option has always been him.
I'm sure you've heard the new talk is that Conor McGregor, Jorge Masvidal could be a potential.
No,
What's your thoughts? Oh, you haven't heard this?
No.
This is the biggest thing on social media now. Everyone's talking, that Chandler's out and Masvidal's in, and it's Conor and Masvidal.
You know what's funny? So in my algorithm on Instagram, I have nothing MMA.
Right?
Literally nothing MMA pops up.
Oh, mine's
my
politics.
algorithm.
That's my...
Yeah, mine's definitely, there's some politics, but yeah, I don't listen to any of the goofy
No.
Now listen to this bombshell. Chael Sonnen dropped some explosive inside information that changes everything we thought we knew about this White House fight. According to Sonnen, the original plan had Conor McGregor facing off against Justin Gaethje, and he emphasized this isn't speculation or a rumor he heard somewhere. He asserted it as undeniable fact. The big catch. McGregor apparently has absolutely no interest in dropping down to the 155-pound lightweight division, citing multiple reasons that go far beyond just the difficulty of making weight. Sonnen stressed that the former two-division champion simply isn't willing to compromise for that particular division, making it crystal clear that any fight at 155 pounds is unequivocally off the table. But here's what's fascinating. Sonnen made it clear that as of right now, a McGregor versus Gaethje fight is still technically possible. It hasn't been completely ruled out. The crucial question he posed was whether Conor should even be walking into a title bout at 155 pounds if he's so reluctant to make the weight. According to Sonnen, McGregor has no intention of dropping to that weight, yet the UFC is still pushing the idea.
That's goofy shit. Yeah, the MMA world, I don't listen to any of that. So literally none of that.
And get this, Ali Abdelaziz's weighed in on the electrifying idea of a grudge match between Justin Gaethje and Conor McGregor happening at the White House on June 14th. He respectfully acknowledged McGregor's past greatness and incredible legacy, but then quickly insisted that Gaethje is operating on a completely different elevated level now. What's fascinating is that both fighters are around the same age, which sets up a truly competitive clash. Abdelaziz even joked about keeping things clean for the prestigious White House setting, but made it absolutely clear that if this fight happened, it wouldn't just be a match. It would be an unforgettable clash of two elite strikers at the peak of their careers going head-to-head in a historic location. He further highlighted that while McGregor might hold more championship belts and boasts a more celebrated title history, a fight with Gaethje should have happened a long time ago. He didn't just call it a good matchup. He described it as an epic matchup, portraying Gaethje as a genuinely scary guy in the octagon and acknowledging why McGregor might have hesitated given the incredibly high stakes involved.
They put together, we come up with the whole plan for production, how it's going to work. My head of production, Craig Borsari, has been working with the White House, for a couple months now, and they build this video rendering of like every tree that's on the property and all this stuff. It's exactly the way it is. We can literally the sun, how the sun will hit the seats at certain times, what it'll look like when it's dark.
Crazy.
This is going to be so badass.
Yeah.
It is. And it's a one of one in our lifetime to be able to.
But here's where the plot thickens even more. Michael Chandler isn't letting Dana White's dismissive comments kill his hopes of a Conor McGregor showdown. He's made it explicitly clear that a fight with McGregor makes the most logical and competitive sense right now, but crucially emphasized he's ready for whatever challenge comes his way. Chandler is maintaining laser focus on securing big, high-profile fights, whether it's the unprecedented White House card or a clash with other top contenders. He's keeping his sights firmly set on making a massive statement against one of the biggest names in the sport. However, John Anik isn't sold on a McGregor versus Chandler matchup, going as far as calling it a fight that simply wouldn't move the needle in the lightweight division. He strongly suggested fans would get far more out of seeing Conor face someone like Nate Diaz or another truly high-profile opponent, emphasizing matchups that carry real consequence and genuine excitement. Anik stressed that a McGregor versus Chandler fight would likely happen at 170 pounds, further limiting its impact within the lightweight picture.
When you look at Jorge Masvidal and the career that he's had, and then you remember Jorge Masvidal has been a massive supporter of Donald Trump. I think he's spoken publicly at rallies for Donald Trump as well. So he's certainly in the good graces of the Trump family, right? And they're the kind of people that they're going to want at the White House. Conor McGregor versus Jorge Masvidal. That'll be a sensational matchup. Michael Chandler, of course, losing to Paddy Pimblett the way that he did. And then, of course, when you look at the majority of fights that he's lost, okay, it doesn't really put him in too good of a standing.
Hold up, because there's another fighter making demands that could change everything. Arman Tsarukyan isn't interested in anyone but the top prize or Conor McGregor. He made it absolutely clear he won't step into the octagon without a guaranteed title shot. And if it's not McGregor on the other side of the cage, it's a complete no-go for him. Tsarukyan confidently called himself a nightmare for Conor, insisting the UFC would never make that fight because of just how dangerous and challenging he would be. Meanwhile, Michael Bisping offered a glimmer of hope for McGregor fans, musing that if McGregor truly locks himself in at the gym with that legendary intensity, it's not unthinkable he could get close to the incredible form that once made him a UFC phenomenon. Bisping reminded everyone of McGregor's meteoric rise, that iconic Eddie Alvarez title win, and the one-punch knockout of Jose Aldo, all combined with his unparalleled swagger and supernatural confidence that transformed him into the biggest star the sport has ever seen. While years have passed, and a devastating broken leg plus significant time off have left their mark, Bisping insists that raw talent hasn't vanished.
Abandon all the yes men. If you get rid of all the distractions and you get in the gym, it's not unthinkable to think that Conor McGregor could get just somewhere near the form that he had when he made his rise through the UFC. Remember 2016, that performance against Eddie Alvarez, the one-punch knockout over Jose Aldo, right? The rise through the UFC. It was like nothing the sport had ever seen before. And then, of course, combined with the brashness and the trash talk and all the rest of it, and the swagger and the confidence that he had, and the humor and the one-liners, you put it all together, the man became the biggest star that the sport's ever seen. 4 years away, I think it is, or 5 years, whatever it is, it's been a long time, and he broke his leg, but he's back training, he's back in the gym. And I tell you what, right, me and McGregor, we've gone head to head, we've talked a bit of shit over the years, but you can't deny the talent the man had. And if he locks in and he's disciplined, you can get almost back to that.
Here's the kicker that nobody's talking about. Dana White's dismissive attitude toward these online rumors might actually be strategic misdirection. Think about it. The UFC president has been working with the White House for months, creating detailed visual representations of the entire property and planning every aspect of this monumental production. He's called the White House card a truly unique occasion, an event unlike anything they've ever attempted before. The sheer level of preparation involved makes it obvious this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create something that will never be repeated. So why would Dana reveal his hand now? Why would he confirm matchups when the speculation alone is generating massive buzz and media coverage? Every time someone mentions McGregor versus Masvidal or McGregor versus Geithch, it's free publicity for what could be the most watched UFC event in history. Dana might be playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers, letting the rumors swirl while he orchestrates something even bigger behind the scenes.
Big as they come, because we've seen on the internet you versus McGregor. Dana White stated that he's no longer interested in McGregor versus Chandler. So then all of a sudden this report comes out, and I'm wondering, does it have legs? Does it have traction? Is it a possibility?
You never know, man. Give them what they want, not what they expect. I could say some big news. I have some fight news coming soon, and it's very big news. And I can't deny or confirm what you just said, you know?
Yeah.
You just gotta let the chips fall where they may, but definitely some big news headed towards...
So here's where we stand with this historic White House card. Multiple fighters are positioning themselves as McGregor's ideal opponent, from Masvidal's political connections to Geith's elite striking to Chandler's persistent campaigning. Dana White is downplaying online rumors while simultaneously planning the most elaborate UFC production ever attempted. Chael Sonnen is dropping insider information about original plans that fell through due to weight-cutting issues. And through it all, Conor McGregor is training with an intensity that suggests he knows exactly who he's preparing to face. This isn't just about one fight anymore. This is about who controls the narrative of the biggest UFC event ever staged, and whether McGregor can reclaim his spot as the sport's biggest draw on the world's most powerful stage. So here's my question for you, drop it in the comments. Do you think Dana is playing mind games with these dismissive comments, or is the real opponent someone nobody's even talking about yet? If this breakdown helped you understand what's really happening behind the scenes, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, And hit the notification bell because this White House card is going to be absolutely historic. I'll see you in the next one.
That's quick. That little lucky left shit he does ain't gonna work with me, a premium striker, brother. I'm gonna see that shit a mile away and slap him in the face. You know, so I don't think Chris Brandon ever would have been good. I'm gonna beat the fucking dog shit out of him, straight up stand-up style.
Are you surprised?
None of that grappling. I'm just gonna get in your face, knee your ribs, elbow your fucking face. It's gonna be a fight, man.
Are you surprised, Jorge, that he's moving on, Dana White is, from the Chandler fight? Because it's been like 2.5 years in the making. They were supposed to fight 2 summers ago. Like, are you surprised that he was that dismissive of it in that interview?
I mean, Chandler's a big name in the sport. He's a huge name and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know how close it was to begin with to being on the White House card. If that was all speculation from the start, or at one point the UFC did want that fight. I don't know all these things. You know, it's just I know that they have a very in-depth team. That they have a guy that counts comments when somebody gets a picture. They have another guy that's looking at just the algorithm. They have an in-depth team of who's going to make the biggest noise possible. And I'm sure they run it through that team and they're going to decide, you know. If you ask me, obviously it should be me.
But hold on, because while everyone's focused on these potential opponents, there's a massive elephant in the room that nobody wants to address. The legal implications of hosting a UFC event at the White House are absolutely mind-blowing. We're talking about security clearances, background checks, and protocols that have never been implemented for a combat sports event. Every fighter, every corner person, every production crew member has to go through the same rigorous vetting process typically reserved for heads of state and foreign dignitaries. Sources close to the situation are saying that some fighters have already been disqualified from consideration purely based on their background check results. This isn't just about who can fight, it's about who can even step foot on the property.
Share inside information with you, but the plan, right? Everything's a little loose, but the plan, the operating plan was that Conor McGregor at the White House would fight Justin Gaethje. So it was also a belief. One thing Conor does not want to do, and again, this is not speculation. I'm protecting my source, but telling you, giving you some real information here, accurate. One thing Conor does not want to do is go down to 155 pounds. And he doesn't want to do it for a number of reasons, and none of which bigger than just going, why? What for? Like, that's not what this is about. It doesn't matter what this weight class is.
And here's something that will blow your mind. The insurance policies alone for this event are reportedly costing the UFC more than most fighters make in their entire careers. We're talking about coverage for potential property damage to one of the most historically significant buildings in America, medical coverage in case of catastrophic injury, and liability protection that extends far beyond anything the UFC has ever dealt with. Dana White had to personally guarantee certain aspects of this event, putting his own financial future on the line. When he says this will never be repeated, he's not just talking about the spectacle. He's talking about the astronomical costs and legal complexities that make this a one-time-only proposition.
As of right here, right now, Gaethje McGregor is still on the table. And I think that should be pulled. I do not believe that Conor should walk into a title fight, but moreover, I will tell you, and Conor will too, he's not going to 155. Now, the promotion does not yet have that through their head. They are still pushing for Conor and 155. This is all extremely accurate information. So, I think there's a lot of options for McGregor. I really think that if it's not him versus Chandler, it should be. We really should look at that. We fans were promised a certain fight. We fans have been pretty damn patient. And I don't know that side was considered. And I think that when that side does get considered, that it's going to lean.
Now get this, the training camps for this event are unlike anything we've ever seen in MMA history. Multiple sources are confirming that potential fighters aren't just preparing for their opponents. They're undergoing specialized training for the unique environment they'll be competing in. The octagon dimensions have been modified to fit within the constraints of the White House grounds, meaning fighters are literally relearning their spatial awareness and cage positioning. The lighting setup is completely different from any UFC venue, requiring adjustments to depth perception and visual timing that could completely alter striking accuracy and defensive reactions. Dana team has reportedly built a replica training facility that mirrors these exact specifications, giving him a potential advantage that other fighters simply don't have access to.
Interim belt, grudge match, June 14, America's 250th birthday, Justin Gaethje versus Conor McGregor. What about that?
You think it's just so many possibilities, man.
But you understand, America's birthday, bring an Irish drunk guy to the White House, make sure he doesn't have any drugs on him or cocaine, fight Justin Gaethje, fight Conor, been running for all his life, but I think right now Conor's, I think right now he doesn't have options. Or he can do whatever he wants, but I would love to see this fight. And I think, listen, I might not like Conor, but I think Conor was at one point, he was a really, really good fighter. And I cannot take this away from him, you know? But I believe it's level to this.
But wait, it gets even crazier. The weight-cutting protocols for this event have been completely revolutionized due to security and medical restrictions. Traditional saunas, certain supplements, and even specific hydration methods are prohibited due to White House regulations. Fighters are having to completely reinvent their cutting strategies with limited resources and under constant medical supervision that goes far beyond typical UFC standards. This is why Chael Sonnen's comments about McGregor refusing to cut to 155 pounds make so much more sense now. It's not just about the difficulty of making weight. It's about making weight under conditions that no fighter has ever experienced before. The medical staff overseeing these cuts includes White House physicians who have zero experience with combat sports, creating a completely unpredictable dynamic that could derail even the most experienced weight cutters.
Conor have more championship belts than Gaethje. Honestly, this fight should have happened a long time ago. Be honest with you, but it never happened. But it is what it is, you know. Can you imagine? You think, what's a bigger fight than Conor McGregor versus Justin Gaethje?
Dude, that would be an amazing fight. And I know you said a number of times it almost came together.
I don't want to come together because I don't think Conor, he wanted to fight Justin. Justin Gaethje is a scary guy. I don't blame Conor, you know, if you don't want to fight with him. He has too much to lose. But Conor right now is just having fun. If this is what he wants, if I was a fighter and I have to fight, that's the fight I'll fight.
And here's the bombshell that changes everything about the opponent selection process. The White House has final approval over every fighter on this card, and their criteria has absolutely nothing to do with rankings, popularity, or even fighting ability. We're talking about political optics, international relations, and image considerations that the UFC has never had to factor into their matchmaking decisions. Certain fighters who would normally be obvious choices have been quietly removed from consideration due to past social media posts, political affiliations, or even family connections that could create diplomatic complications. This explains why some of the names being thrown around publicly might just be smokescreens for the real negotiations happening behind closed doors.
Do you have a preference if it's not Conor? Obviously, I know you want to fight Conor, but
obviously that's the fight. That's the fight to me that makes the most sense when it comes to Occam's razor. Like, the most obvious choice should be the choice. The most obvious solution should be the solution. We've already got the build-up. We've already got the backdrop. We've already got the animosity. We've already got the footage. But with that being said, if it's not him, I mean, I think I've kind of gotten into a point too where there's this rejuvenation also where you're like, hey, obviously I've had my sights set on that, and if that's kind of the letdown and that doesn't happen, man, like, I want big fights. I want to get back in there and fight a top guy. I want to get back in there. I don't think my last performance was indicative of my actual skill set and my fire and my passion for the sport, just for some outside circumstances. But man, I don't have a preference, but I want a big fight. You know, so we'll see what happens in March. Max versus Charles. Armin's out there always talking about people.
That's true.
But these are not fights that I necessarily deserve, right? We're in this sport where you're like, hey, man, you just lost your last fight. You can't go out there and fight number 2 next. But man, I just hold it like this, and whatever comes my way comes my way. But hopefully Conor at the
Listen to this insane detail about the production logistics. The entire event has to be completed within a specific time window that aligns with White House security rotations and staff schedules. There's no flexibility for overtime, no possibility of extended fights going to multiple rounds if it pushes past the designated end time. Dana White and his production team are working with military precision to ensure every aspect of this event fits within parameters that have never constrained a UFC card before. The walkout music has to be pre-approved, the commentary team needs security clearance, and even the camera angles are restricted based on areas of the White House that cannot be shown on international television. This isn't just a fight card, it's a diplomatic event disguised as a sporting competition. But here's what's really got insiders talking behind the scenes. Multiple sources are suggesting that this White House card isn't just about one main event, it's about creating a trilogy of historic fights that will define McGregor's legacy forever. The plan allegedly involves 3 separate opponents across 3 different weight classes, with each fight taking place in a different location within the White House grounds. We're talking about a welterweight bout in the Rose Garden, a lightweight showdown in the East Room, and potentially even a catchweight superfight in an undisclosed indoor location. If this is true, then all the speculation about individual opponents misses the point entirely. McGregor wouldn't just be making history with one fight. He'd be cementing his status as the most versatile and ambitious fighter in UFC history by taking on multiple elite opponents in one night. And get this, the international broadcasting implications are absolutely staggering. This event will be simultaneously broadcast to more countries than any sporting event in history, with translation services and cultural considerations that dwarf even the Olympics or World Cup. The UFC's usual broadcast partners are having to coordinate with State Department officials to ensure the content meets diplomatic standards for every international market. Certain camera angles, commentary topics, and even fighter interviews are being scripted and pre-approved to avoid any potential international incidents. Dana White isn't just promoting a fight card. He's essentially producing a piece of American soft power diplomacy that will be scrutinized by governments and media outlets across the globe. Now here's the part that will absolutely blow your mind about the opponent selection. Industry insiders are whispering that the final decision might not come down to any of the names we've been discussing. There are rumors of a completely secret negotiation involving a fighter who hasn't competed in years, someone whose return would be so shocking that it would overshadow even the White House venue itself. We're talking about someone whose comeback would generate more pay-per-view buys than any event in UFC history, a fighter whose presence would justify every single dollar spent on this unprecedented production. The identity is being kept under such tight wraps that even top UFC executives supposedly don't know who it is, with Dana White handling these negotiations personally and privately. But here's what makes this whole situation even more complex. The timing of this White House event coincides with several major political and economic factors that could completely change the landscape of professional fighting. New legislation regarding athlete compensation, international broadcasting rights, and even the legal status of combat sports are all being influenced by the precedent this event will set. McGregor isn't just fighting for his legacy, he's potentially fighting in an event that could redefine how combat sports are regulated, promoted, and monetized for decades to come. The financial implications extend far beyond gate receipts and pay-per-view numbers. We're talking about establishing new frameworks for international sports diplomacy and athlete representation on a global scale. And finally, here's the question that's keeping everyone in the MMA world awake at night. What happens if this event is so successful that it creates expectations the UFC can never meet again? Dana White has repeatedly said this will never be repeated. But what if the financial returns and global attention are so massive that it becomes impossible to go back to regular venues and standard productions? We could be witnessing the beginning of a completely new era in combat sports, where every major event needs to have historical significance and political implications to capture public attention. McGregor might not just be fighting for his comeback. He might be fighting in the event that changes the entire future of professional fighting forever. The pressure isn't just about winning or losing anymore. It's about living up to an occasion that could define how combat sports are perceived by mainstream audiences for generations to come.